people seeking a medium, I tell them that number one, they should have a reference. They should go to someone that they've heard about through someone they can trust. Secondly, when they see the medium, really based upon, I would say, price-wise, is it a reasonable price? Is it an outrageous price? Is it, what is normal? I mean, it's hard to say, but I would say depending on the medium's experience, and is it outrageous or is it normal? The information that comes through the medium, it should be information which the person can receive as evidential details that no one would know about, but the person sitting for the reading and the spirit that comes through. So it's really reference, the guided, I would say, reference number one way. When you're sitting with a medium, hopefully the medium that I'm going to see is someone you've been referred to, someone who has some ethics and responsibility. A medium is someone really just who is the in-between the spirit world and the living, to bring through evidential proof of life after death, proof of consciousness. I believe that many different types of mediums. I believe that when someone visits a medium, they should realize that just because the person says they're a medium doesn't necessarily mean that they're spiritual. Because there are many mediums out there who do this work, who I've seen who are not one bit spiritual, but they're a very good medium. So it depends on what that person is looking for, if you will. So don't expect spirituality, spiritual insights from mediums. I really would just go to see a medium to, if you will, proof of life of death, contact with spirit. That's really which one to go. If you hear a medium saying to you derogatory, negative, scary, fearful, leave right away. Don't trust that. That's not what the work is about, and that person is not really in tune, I would say. Mental mediumship, meaning clairvoyance, clairsight, clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairsentience, clear feeling. The number one way that most people actually are able to sense spirit is feeling it, feeling a spirit, feeling the personality. So a medium, number one, I would say very much, if we're talking about a mental medium, they would feel the personality first. They would feel that personality, they'd feel if it's a male or a female. They would feel, in many ways, we say feel, but it's really how it comes through first. You feel the age approximately that they would have been when they passed over. And many times then your mind, they'll be projected into your mind, a vision, if you will, of the person, if it's a male, female, what they look like, personal characteristics, physical traits that you would not recognize with them. And then after you establish a link and you establish a contact that the person who is communicating, you want to make sure that the information coming through is exactly right. Very strong evidential information. Perhaps the age they were when they died, perhaps where they lived, how they passed away. Details and information really specific that only the spirit would know and the person that's receiving the information would know. That's really what needs to come through. I always say, for me personally, it is a wonderful opportunity for those on the earth to receive from spirit, their loved ones, but also is an opportunity for the spirit to come back and speak to their loved ones on the earth, give them the opportunity, which they are looking forward to as well. I believe that as a medium, your job is not only to produce the evidential information, really, but to let that person leave the experience a lighter, higher, more aware, spiritually, if you will, realizing their responsibility in the great scheme of life. So I would like to end it, end the session, a medium, hopefully by blessing and thanking the spirit world for making this possible, and also to light the flame within that person as well, for them then to take that experience they have had and share it with everybody who comes into their space, because we all do this together. And one person seeing a medium and having a connection with the spirit world can change everybody's life that person then encounters. They'll give two examples, two great stories. The first one is this lady named Marie Levine, and she lost her son, Peter, who was in this car accident, came through, and this is in New York, and this came through very, very clearly. He came through, and described his death, the car accident, and he apologized to his mother. And she said, I don't want to live anymore. This is the end of my life, and I can't live without my Peter. And Peter kept on telling his mother, it had to be this way. We agreed upon this. It had to be this way. You agreed upon it. I did. And it's hard to tell that to a mother who just lost her son. I just brought through all the details and the information he wanted me to give his mother. And he did say it's going to change her life in a positive way. And what he sees, for her, she's not going to see for herself for several years down the road, but it will indeed change her life. And his death will really heal many other people. Okay. Years and years later, this lady really started writing books on the subject matter, and then started helping organizations like Compassionate Friends, organizations where the parents lost children and so forth, and have worked with different stages of grief and so forth. And I've really then helped people. She wrote her own book, and help people go through the loss of a child and the experience of what it's like. And now she reaches people all over the world with those support groups, and her books, which is very helpful. Another experience that happened, and there are many, many, many hundreds of thousands, if you will, but another one which I think is kind of interesting. I was doing a sitting for a husband and wife, and their son Chris came through. So there's a young man, Chris, here, and he's showing me the Volkswagen. I said, yes, he had a Volkswagen that we bought him. I said, for some reason, he's going to work with your hands. Bill, Father, he's going to work with your hands. I don't know what that means, but he's going to work with your hands. And he didn't know what that meant either. So several months had passed, and this father calls me up on the telephone, and he said, oh, this is crazy, but when I go by certain people, my hands start rising up, and heat comes from them. And he goes, and it's the strangest thing, because I find out later people who are ill. Since that, he has opened up a healing center, and we found out that really what the connection with his son is his son was working through his father for the healing through his hands, which could not have happened until his son had passed to the world of the spirit, to make that connection, if you will. So that was a pretty amazing, incredible experience. And things like that happen all the time. We don't hear about them, but when we're touched by the world of spirit and just touching the living physical world, it really, the rippling effect of the message and of the experience touches so many millions of lives that we don't see. Before a sitting or before a demonstration, I put myself into a position, my mindset, if you will, the day of an event. I put myself in a mindset of openness, receptivity, sacredness, if you will, bring myself up to a higher level of the spirit, making my thoughts for the spirit, asking them to come through that night, and just blending kind of with them. When I go then to meet somebody in a sitting or I do a demonstration, I will meditate beforehand, and I do go through my chakra system, open myself up to the higher levels, and I connect with my guides, one main guide, and I really am asking to be used any way they will, for the upliftment of humankind, yeah. And then I go out and really have to go there and be open to whatever I'm receiving, being to a point where you're very receptive, if you will. It's very interesting because it's a controlled receptivity, yeah. So you're there and you're very open to receiving any impressions, any feelings, any projections, and being able to be in a space that you're also providing this forum, this wonderful space for the person, the audience, or the person that you're sitting with, to receive it, to understand it. I find also it's very important to change the atmosphere that I'm working, whether it's with the one-on-one sitting or in a group, to change the atmosphere to make it much more receptive and for them to hear the message, for them to be able to hear what's going on, because there's so many miracles that happen. And I found also in doing the work that, let's say you have a hall of 300 people, 1,000 people, obviously not everyone is going to receive a personal message, but yet every message that comes through, there'll be something in that message for every single person in that audience, because we're all human beings. We'll share commonalities. We really do. We really are one. So it affects one person will affect another person. And I think I try to change that atmosphere and really have them realize that that's really a message for every single person in the room. I also change up the energy with people to make them realize at the very beginning of a sitting and a demonstration that listen to what they hear. Because if you're so obsessed with hearing from your dead son, that's all you're doing, you're blocking the energy for anything else that might happen, for all the miracles that might take place around you. Because just if you're so obsessed with hearing one thing, you're going to be blocked off hearing everything else around you. And it's a shame, because then you ruin that experience. That experience will be gone, and you've received nothing out of it. And the spirit world wants you to receive everything. Everyone that sits in that room will receive something. I believe that there are times that the spirit people will bring their loved ones to a sitting demonstration where they see the medium at work, where they become aware of the medium's makeup, how they are able to reach out and with their mind to bring them in, to open up the door for them, the concentration that the spirit must go through with the mind, because they have to reach the medium's mind, so they have to concentrate at a certain frequency, if you will, how to project a thought, how to project their personality, how to blend with a medium's mind to get through, to be able to come through. So it takes practice. So they will see that. They work on that. And when the time comes, when that's the perfect time for them to make that connection, they do that. And what happens, again, it depends on the spirit, I have found, because there's some spirits that are very, very outgoing, jovial, and fun, and there are those spirits that are very shy and stay behind. They're all just like we're all different personalities. They're all different personalities. So there's got to be a blending, if you will, of the spirit and the medium. And I find that they have to work at that sometimes. But if you have a good connection with a medium, with the personality of the medium is very close to the personality of the spirit, I think the contact is great. I think it's wonderful, and I think it's sometimes just so obvious that they're there. And again, depending on the talents of the medium, they can feel them. They can feel the spirit. They can actually many times will take on the personality and the if you will embodiment of the spirit. They will look like them. There are phrases that might come out of the medium's mouth sounding like them. So it's different depending upon the spirit and the faculties of the medium. When I work, that my guides are behind me, and my guides are often, I hear them telling them to the spirit, just come here, click closer, watch what's going on here, concentrate, you're going way too fast, you must slow down your thought. Slow down the thought, because you're not reaching the medium's mind. You have to slow down to a certain level, then get it through this way. So I do often hear that. It's practice. Like, it's very interesting because the people that come to demonstrations, many of them have never been to a demonstration, and the same with spirit. Many of them have never attempted spirit communication before. So guides play an integral part in the process, I find. I have been through many demonstrations where I've seen rows of spirit above the audience, watching, preparing maybe for another time when it's their opportunity to come through in a demonstration. I've also had the opportunity to witness spirits around a room who, let's say, belong to a certain group, where that group is learning from suicides or learning about loss of parents or whatever. There's support groups or whatever you want to call them. They will come and they will learn various things too. So many people think that just because someone's passed into the world of spirit that they know more than we do. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I have found in so many ways that the spirit are still learning over there, and they're learning from us down here how we deal with the situation, how we the choices that we make, the courage that we have, the joy that we find in things. So they learn from us how to behave in a certain situation, how to be human, if you will. So it goes both ways, you see. So and I think there's a constant learning. I do, from here, there, and back. So we have to change our attitudes about that, thinking just because someone's in the world of spirit, they know more. Not necessarily. Not necessarily.